Hey YouTubers, welcome to the channel. I just want to do a really quick video on my war art and how I made that and why I came up with the idea and so forth. Back in the 90s I was purchasing a lot of DVDs, and they were all of my favourite movies I grew up with in the 80s and also the 90s as well. So like everybody else, I would have them displayed on shelves or in drawers or wherever I had them in containers at one stage. And you know, like most people, if you watch videos that they have them all stacked up behind them, you know, they turn their home into a video shop. Remember back in the Blockbuster days where, you know, you'd spend hours trying to find movies that you wanted to watch that were weeklies, and you sit there and do this thing and you go across, and it, you know, it just makes me think back in those days. Everything's changed now, being 2019. So what I did is I went on eBay and I found these little metal containers. So I found these containers on eBay. You know, you can actually stack in your DVDs, and I got the idea to do that to save space more than anything. So I hunted around for the right type of frame. So the covers were about 13 centimeters by about 18.5 centimeters roughly. And so what I did is I tried to work out what a good size frame is, whether it would be A2, A1, A0. At the end, luckily, the best place to go was Kmart, because Kmart had these massive frames and they were like half the price of anything else that you'd buy. So these were only $15 each, so I ended up getting 4 for $60, and you can actually fit 5 by 5 with a little bit of trimming. As you can see, I hardly sacrificed any of the cover and I could see the complete movie. I mean, the hardest thing about doing all this is deciding which 25 you want in each poster. I tried to kind of keep them categorized in some way, but at the end of the day, it's up to your personal preference. But it's a good way to kind of save space if you want to get all your DVDs into in a case and not throw away all the memorable covers that you've had. So I recommend that you go invest your money and buy one of these. Now, what these are the trimmers that slide up and down, and you can cut your covers up. Now this one was only about $30, and it was worth buying, because the alternative would be to get a standing knife and a board and a metal ruler and do everything by hand. And it's going to be very, very difficult to get consistent cuts and get everything square. With this, at least you can keep everything nice and square, and you can do a perfect job, and it makes it a lot easier, trust me, when it comes time to put them on the board and frame them. What I basically did, I worked out on these frames, you can get your hands on them, they're about 61 or 62 centimeters by about 91 centimeters, and they fit 25 in there with a little bit of trimming. So basically just take the absolute length of the backing board that goes into the frame and the top, and just divide it by 5 and work out how wide each cover needs to be, and then say trim each on either side. I trimmed about 4 mil either side and made them a little bit narrower, and each cover was a little bit longer than the other. Some were the same depending on which distributor it was. Universal was consistent, but what I ended up doing is trimming a couple of mils on the top just to get them all consistent. Once you've trimmed them all and they're all square, and you've decided which 25 are going to go in each poster, and you've laid them out flat on the table, and then just stack them all up in order so you have the pile all in order the way you want to go. So gluing them on the backing board, I used the garage area, which is easier, and I put the backing board down on the ground, and I got a can of Hobby spray glue that you can glue things with. Now, instead of spraying each cover, you just spray the backing board, just give it a good coat, and then what happens is it becomes nice and tacky. It stays like that for a good 20 minutes, and you only need about 3 minutes to actually put them all on there. So what you do, because you've got the pile ready, you just put the first one up the top, and you've already cut everything that's square, and you know it's all going to fit. So you just put the first one on there, and just on the edge, and just roll it down, and just tap it lightly, and it'll stay there because of the tackiness. So once you get the first one down, it's nice and square, then you just continue with going across. So basically you just butt up the next one perfectly and just roll it down and push it down. And before you know it, you'll just get into a bit of a rhythm. And if you just take your time and make sure, I mean, there was a couple that I put down a bit crooked and I just lifted off. So just make sure they're nice and straight before you tack them down, because otherwise you'll need to prop them up and you don't want to wreck the covers. I managed to get 100 done without stuffing everything up, which was really good. Once the covers were on there, I took it inside the house and I had a can of air spray that you use in photography. It's basically like compressed air in. I just gave everything a quick blow to get little hairs off or little dust particles. I blew the inside of the Perspex. This is just Perspex here. And I put it all together and then that's it. And they turned out like this. You can make some really cool wall art out of your DVD covers, and I think they are much better displayed on the walls, and it's also a reminder of, you know, what I grew up with. And some of these movies, I think all of these movies actually are fantastic, and I'm going to do a review on all of them, but it's only going to be like a quick 30-second review. Look, this is an idea I had a while ago and finally got it done. Kmart is probably a good place to find the frames. You know, Kmart doesn't suck, as they say in Rain Man. Anyway, that was my video on my wall art, and yeah, leave any comments if you like, if you have any questions about anything I did. But that's it. So I'll come back with a review on the movies, because that to me is even more important than making the wall art, is knowing about some of these movies that I think a lot of people, especially they were born in 2000 and beyond, have no idea about. And I got to tell you, some of these are absolute gems. Enjoy, and talk to you guys another time.
Kmart sucks.